Hi and welcome to Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula 1 podcast by fans, for fans. Season 2023 has started in Bahrain with a dominant performance by Red Bull. I'm joined by Tristan Pocock here tonight to discuss the season opener. Tristan.
Hello, mate.
What did you think?
Oh, what a thing. You know what, I said to many people I discussed Monday, Tuesday, well, it's Tuesday, Monday, and today as well. I'm going to go as far to say that is one of the, if not the best season opener that we have had for a very long time. I loved every minute. What did you think?
It was exactly as I expected, a dominant performance by Red Bull. I was worried this was going to be the case.
Yep.
I was worried you were going to see all sorts of wonderful things that...
There was lots of wonderful things that happened across the whole weekend.
It was an Alonso weekend.
It was an Alonso weekend. And how nervous were you as he crept his way through the field knowing exactly how our episode will probably go tonight?
No, I'm on board.
Good.
All aboard the Alonso
all aboard
train.
The Alonso train.
Because, my God, we need someone to take them on, don't we? The Bulls.
And what a man to take them on.
Anyone would think he actually won the race.
I'm up and about tonight.
He didn't win the race.
But after free practice one, I was ready to put every single dollar I had on him to win.
We'll talk about the rollercoaster of emotions through the weekend. But no, it was a dominant performance by Max, and it was exactly the way I think we probably expected it to go.
I think so too. Our predictions were pretty much along that line.
But there was all sorts of other things to enjoy, and there's a few people who did down in the dumps.
Really?
After the first race.
Really?
Well, just how dominant he was. But my job today is to confirm to everyone that there's more to look forward to in this season. And
absolutely.
It's not all over.
There is so many things that happened from Friday to Sunday beyond Max's domination.
Yeah.
That I hope those people listening who are down the jumps.
Not down the jumps, down in the dumps.
Yeah. Maybe just cheer up a bit.
It'll be right.
It'll
be right. It's round one.
Cheer
exactly.
Up.
But no, I think
me.
And I think they're right. I think it is going to be a Max dominated season, but there is lots to look forward to, and it won't just all go their own way.
Absolutely not. And if Max does dominate, there looks to be a lot going on behind him. So, lots to look forward to.
All the usual stuff tonight. F1 race review. We've got the rankings, thanks to All Signs. All Signs are on board this year. We've also got fantasy, thanks to Dr. Auto Art.
Very excited.
We have got, not F1.5.
F1.5
is always delayed.
It is. So it'll be about, round 5, I think?
Usually
around 5. We've got to get a good feel for it and get it right.
So we can discuss it.
We can discuss it. We can who we think yes and no, maybe not. Yep.
Explain how it all works.
Yep, on the way.
And then there might be a little bit of news, time to discuss a bit of news.
I'm sure there's some news in the round.
But there's plenty to discuss from the race weekend. And then, of course, we are previewing the next round.
We are. Which
is always incredibly exciting. Give it a race ranking.
9. Don't laugh at me, 9. It was terrific. There was so... there was so much going on.
You cannot give a 9 unless the lead has a change at some stage.
I am looking beyond Max. As far as I'm concerned, Max was brilliant. He dominated the weekend. Thanks. I'm looking at everything else that happened behind Max, and it was a phenomenal... I literally said it as it started. It was one of the best opening weekends that I've ever seen.
It was...
For a season. It was phenomenal.
It was officially a 6, the race.
A 6?
But I'm going to give it a 7 because it was the first race I was excited to see Formula 1 back. But the actual race was a 6, in my opinion.
What?
However, the roller coaster of the weekend...
Yep.
That was the one that just absolutely... it blew my mind.
Yep.
So we saw what we saw in testing. We saw...
Yep.
We went away from testing thinking, all right, Red Bull's dominant.
Yep, and
Ferrari might be there.
Yes, we weren't sure, which we're probably still.
Yep, Aston Martin were in sort of an area that we're like, well, they look good, but can they be really that good?
Yep.
And then Mercedes, I think we were all expecting what we saw on the weekend from Mercedes. So
absolutely.
They sort of sat exactly where we expected them. And then the rest of the field was to be locked in. But then then we got to practice. It just seemed that Red Bull hadn't got that same sort of pace together.
Yep, absolutely.
And it looked like they'd lost that mojo. And I went to bed I got up and watched practice on the Saturday morning.
Good.
And I was watching. I was like, no, you know what? It's not bad. I'm gonna have to go off this session because we can't usually go off a practice session 3 because the conditions are just not representative of race time.
Practice 2 is always the one.
And then I got suckered in, didn't I? Because practice 3 was an incredible session where we saw all sorts of things going on and we saw so many people so close to the hunt. And I was like, don't get giddy. It's not race conditions. Don't get giddy. It's not. And it was too bad. I was giddy. And then we got to qualifying, and then all the way through qualifying until the final session was close as anything as well. And I thought, my goodness, we are in for a hell of a season. And then Red Bull just drove off into the distance at race time.
Yep.
And I think they could have won by a whole lot more, but it's not going to be their own way. This track really did suit them for a range of reasons, and one of those reasons is because Ferrari once again did some Ferrari things.
And I think the hard thing about Bahrain, especially being round 1, is that you go and you spend 3 days there. You do, 3 to 4 Grand Prix distances, and then you come back and do the actual Grand Prix. So if you're dominating testing like Red Bull are, it's very difficult to not go and dominate the race weekend because you've got so much data and so much experience on the track.
Yep, so there was lots of known unknowns, or there was less unknowns than usual for Red Bull, and because everything was running so well, and so they made it all happen. But it won't be that way in the future. It will be a whole lot closer, is my prediction.
Okay.
But before we get into too much Formula 1 talk, we've got to start with an opening question. It is from the friend of the pod, Paige, and Paige is talking about. We're all pumped up for the F1 start of the season, and this inspired her idea for an opening question. Plus, she wanted to get in before Sam did.
Oh, that's so.
She wants to know what's your go-to song to get pumped up.
A go-to song to get pumped up.
Yeah, hers is Super Beast by Rob Zombie. I had to listen to it. It's some hardcore, heavycore stuff, but I do actually like the Dragula song by Rob Zombie, which is that Dragula.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't put
no,
music.
Wouldn't be too...
But so that is a wicked track.
Yep.
This other one I'm not so sure about.
Yep.
Super Beast.
Yep.
Mine is Hilltop Hoods, Drinking from the Sun. And ideally the restrung version because they go from an intro into that, and it's just, if I need a bit of pump me up on the way into work, that's me go-to.
Pump me up on the way into work. Yeah, I guess.
Well, it doesn't have to be on the way into work, but that's where I generally need a little pump up.
Yep.
What are you thinking?
I like that.
I mean, there's your traditional songs.
Traditional songs, yeah. I think for me, I really like Jack Jones' Housework.
Jack Jones' Housework.
It's
that does not sound like a pump me up song.
It is a pump me up song. I don't know. Are we restricted to copyright here? If I
I'm gonna
put a snippet on. I'm gonna put a snippet on here right now. No, it's a good. Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
It doesn't sound like it.
It does. I'll put it on here.
Doesn't. I'll put it on my phone because that might work better.
Okay, cool.
Housework does not come across as a song that you would expect to be a pump. It's not even popping up on the list.
I'm finding it here. I'm just going to skip through the Grammarly advert here. It's a good song, I promise you. I'll just play a snippet here. Let's see how we go. I'll see if that's going to work here.
All right, that's enough. We cut it
too
much.
It's good. It's good.
It's not what I expected.
Yeah, no.
It's a lot more techno for you than I was expecting.
It is. I don't mind a bit of house music every now and then. Anyway,
let us know your pump-up song.
That's a good pump-up song.
It's not bad.
That's terrific.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting.
You can't go off a name of it.
No, you can't, turns out. But yeah, great opening question. I want to see what Sam can bring to the party. I wanted Kingsley back involved in the opening questions because there was a good little contest there.
Yep.
Or anyone else, in actual fact. It's not just a monopoly to these three.
Sure.
Get in there and annoy them, world, because... Yeah, in fact, you know what? I'm going to put out a challenge. I want an opening question from America this week.
From America?
This week coming. Yep.
Well, we have lots of new people on the Fan Frenzy mini pod that have jumped on Facebook yesterday. Yep. So maybe we might even work it into Fan Frenzy as well. Throw it in there.
Yeah. So I want an opening question from America.
All right, terrific.
Beat Sam and Kingsley and Paige to it. Race review.
Let's get into it.
It was an interesting race weekend, like I said. It looked a whole lot closer, and then Q3 came and Red Bull pulled out their finger. Yep. However, we never actually saw, and we're starting with qualifying because we never actually saw what Ferrari had in their pocket, because they went with the really unusual situation of not going for a final lap.
Yep.
in qualifying. This is a problem. This is a huge problem.
We had this happen a couple of years ago, didn't we?
When people were trying to conserve tyres.
Yes. Yep.
There must be 2 sets used
Yep.
in qualifying. Because we can't have drivers sitting out qualifying like Leclerc, who he was a genuine chance to pick up pole. Yep. He was a genuine chance to pick up pole, and he decided that he needed to conserve tyres for the race. Now, fat lot of good that did him, and we'll get to the Ferrari question in a minute when we talk about Ferrari. But it was a real shame for our season opener to see the contender get out of the car at the moment that he should be driving out of the pits.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that there is going to be, for that exact issue there, which I think was a bit of an unknown. I don't think many of us expected them to do that.
I don't think anyone expected
I don't think so either.
Everyone just assumed the car had broken down.
I didn't mind that they did that, because I actually thought that's all right. Because they've looked at it and gone, okay, well, we're not going to get them on track. We need to park them for an extra set on Sunday. So I didn't mind that. So, however, in a couple of days leading up to our Grand Prix weekend, it was announced sort of on the news feeds that there is rumour that the FIA and F1 is looking at a new qualifying format. So a bit of a test format.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Imola's been earmarked as the location for our test format for qualifying, and that's where you'll go into Q1 and you must run soft only. You will go, I think it's soft. I don't know the actual compounds, but for example, you're going to Q1, you must run soft. You're going to Q2, you must run medium. And then you go to Q3 and you must run hard. So you don't get that option, which you often see in Q2, where someone will, like a Red Bull, will put a medium on and get through while all around are running softs, and then they can, reserved a set for Sunday. So I don't mind that. I think that's going to be okay. Just evens the playing field, which looks to be what we're trying to do more and more and more. But yeah, just an unusual set of circumstances from Ferrari. But as I said, I didn't mind it. I thought it was really good. It's clever. We bemoaned Ferrari for strategy all year last year, and I think the thing I liked about it is it showed that they were thinking about it properly for the first time. That actually were thinking, okay, here is a sensible strategy call.
How'd it go for them?
Well, obviously it didn't work, but it doesn't matter. I think the conditions didn't play to it either, but that's what I liked about it.
We actually never really found out if it was going to work.
Not really,
because he broke down. But, it was... it was such a bad look for Formula One in their opening weekend.
Yes.
That we saw that really close battle in Q2, and we were like, oh, damn, Alonso's out of this one. Oh, Hamilton's out of this one. And they were all like gripping to tyres, so we knew they were actually out of it.
Yes.
And then the last contender, because I don't think anyone believes Sainz was going to do the job at that moment, contender gets out of the car and decides he's not doing the qualifying lap. That is a horrendous look for Formula One, particularly on our opening weekend.
I think if it becomes a theme, I'll probably look more untowardly on it. Like if we come to next weekend and they do it again, and we go to Australia and he does it again, that's when I'm probably going to be like, all right, this can't happen.
Well, if anyone tries it on again, there was no proof that there was going to be any use out of this one. I think the benefit of getting a decent pole, or trying to go for pole is what was required. But yeah.
See, I think if he had been successful, that would have been more harmful to it. Because if Leclerc saved the set and then ran Max down and won, the rest of the pit lane would look and go, right, that works. So that knock-on effect we would see that consistently across the other teams. So probably good that we A, didn't see if it worked, or B, it probably wasn't going to work anyway. So, I don't know, might just be a one-off. I'd be really surprised if we see it again, to be quite honest.
Oh, me too. And the Bahrain circuit is absolutely famous for chewing tyres. It's a really hard on tyres. Yep, and has never been resurfaced.
No.
It probably could do with a resurface in a couple of spots. But so hopefully we won't see it again, but just a terrible look at that close moment. We had that great session, and then what a disappointment. So I think they need to clarify that you must use 2 tyres in each session. Maybe it's a bit hard to do that, isn't it?
It is.
There might need to be another way of just pushing them into it. Let's get into the race. Ferrari, that package is... sorry, not Ferrari. Red Bull, that package is unbelievably good.
It is unbelievably good.
And it does seem to suit Perez a little bit more.
It does seem to. I still think, though, he is going to be chasing Max by a long way.
Oh, 100%.
So really, the way that I feel that suits Perez is it gives him a gap to the rest of the field.
Yeah.
But it certainly
Which is
doesn't.
important.
Yeah, I think so, but it certainly doesn't gap him to Max.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, they were closer through qualifying, though, which we didn't always see that from Perez.
Yep.
Perez is pretty much known for his great time management through races and strategy and long-lasting distances.
Absolutely.
We did see him a lot closer to Max in qualifying when Max was right on it. So
yeah, I think it was only a tenth and a half as of qualifying, is what it was.
So I think we will see a closer team, but I mean, Max in that car is just an absolute recipe for success at the moment, isn't it?
Do you think George is right in saying that Max will just win every single race this year?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It's never happened before. Why would it happen with the longest season we've ever seen? So, yeah, no, I don't think so. But there's ominous signs.
There's a lot
that he is strong and he's more of a complete package than he's ever been.
I think so. I think so. Teams will catch them at the end of the season because we know they've got their wind tunnel time penalty. I don't think it's going to really do a great deal.
I've got an idea on that.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not a big difference to Ferrari.
No.
It's not a huge difference to Ferrari, who finished second last year.
Yes.
They were always going to be down a little bit, and then they've been penalised another.
Yes.
I think it's ended up about 15%.
I think something like that. Yep.
On Mercedes, who finished third last year, it's at about another 5% to them.
Yep.
To Alpine, who finished fourth last year, it's about another 5% to them.
Yeah.
McLaren, it's about another 5% to them.
Yeah.
Who's the next challenger in this?
Would it be Aston, wouldn't it?
Aston Martin are actually got a good chunk of percentage
bulk percentage
on them. So if anyone needs to make the most of this season, I mean, they're talking that Red Bull's probably going to have to. They chose to last year to stop the development about mid-season.
Yep.
This year, they're going to have to stop the development this season.
Yes, forced hand.
They're not going to have that choice. And Aston Martin really need to make sure, and I mean, they developed beautifully last year. If you think about that car at the start of the season to the end of the season, they've proven that they can do it, but this is their big chance because they're going to be running them down because they're going to have a whole lot more time to chase them down.
Absolutely.
One of the problems is they're moving into the new factory this year, which I hope isn't a distraction to them.
I don't think it will be. I think someone like Lawrence...
You ever moved house before?
Well, yeah, I have. But
it's a hell of a job. It is a hell of a job, and I honestly, I know this is a whole lot different because this is a Formula One team.
Yes.
But there is going to be some distraction in there doing the big move.
I think there would be enough hands on it where those that are part of a Sunday to Friday race team are probably
that's not the problem.
Part of it.
That's not the problem. Mm-hmm. Their advantage is the stuff at the factory. They get to do all that development. So it's just... look, I don't think it's going to be like they're going to fall apart by any stretch of the imagination, but that's going to be a challenge for them.
They might not move in until after season's end.
Well, they're talking May.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm absolutely sure they'll get things done.
Yep.
It'll all work, but yeah, there's that slight distraction. But they're my golden hope for chasing down Red Bull, and I think that Ferrari's got a whole lot more in the bank as well, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes.
But this business of people saying, "Oh, there's not that much difference between them and Ferrari," that's correct, but there's a huge difference to Aston Martin.
Yes.
And Aston Martin have proven that they can do some developing through the season.
Do you think the rules this weekend was a really great advertisement for what the new rules and regulations are setting out to achieve?
In which way?
In the way that we had just over a second, gapping nearly fourth to last.
Yeah, in qualifying.
Yeah. And then even I mean, Aston are the absolute poster, golden child for this, where you've come from the back, you've been allocated more time, and now you're moving to the front.
Yeah.
I think what we're setting out to do, I mean, really, the rules were designed to stop Mercedes, and they have.
Yep.
And then what we're seeing is, even Williams, I was incredibly impressed with Williams over the weekend. I really, really was. But we've taken bottom teams, and suddenly they've energised fans in the actual sport by going from bottom to almost... Because you don't want them going right to the top.
No,
I'm kind of okay with that. You don't want to go last to first.
I'm with you.
And just cycle through, because then you'll get teams deliberately tanking.
Yep.
But I just think I thought the weekend was a great advertisement for what the F1 is trying to do.
Yep.
In order to sort of balance out the scales of team.
Whatever Red Bull were doing with their setup, the FIA, in practice that is, the FIA need to enforce that with Red Bull.
Yes.
They need to say to Red Bull, look, for the sake of everyone, you've got to raise your car height.
Yes.
Because, we're a bit worried about the season. But no, when they were slightly raised, they were in a bit more, like, they weren't gone, but they're in a bit more trouble. So, But they're not going to understand the track like they've understood this track.
That's true.
They had the smoothest testing sessions that they could have possibly had.
Faultless weekend.
And so it was just, conditions were set up for the team who is most comfortable to be comfortable through that race. And that's exactly what we saw. Come Jeddah, where the tyre deg isn't going to hamper the Ferraris quite as much.
And high speed.
Yep. I think what we'll see is a bit of a different race. Fingers crossed anyway, because it was a really dominant performance, and that's not taking away from Red Bull.
No.
Holy moly, what a package they've put together.
Absolutely.
Ferrari, like we said, it was moments of, oh my goodness, Ferrari, they're doing Ferrari things again. There was an interesting strategy call, which I'm with you. I don't mind them trying things. You just got to be really... You got to nail it if you're Ferrari. They've got more speculation than anyone, particularly being Ferrari in general, and then after the seasons that they've had. But then the breakdown. And the one thing that Ferrari can't afford to be doing is if Max is winning this early part of the season, they can't be not getting points themselves.
That's true.
And Charles Leclerc, unfortunately, broke down and did exactly that from third position. I think he would have held on to third. I don't know if Alonso would have got him if he hadn't broken down.
Maybe not. You never
would have been
know.
an interesting battle. It would have been a really interesting battle, I think.
Would have been good to see.
It was a very Ferrari weekend. I hate to say it already. There were better signs. Science? Thoughts on science?
He sort of had a science weekend, wasn't he?
It disappointed me.
I wasn't. I'm not as downbeat on Ferrari as what you are. I think that Sainz was okay. I really don't expect to see Sainz third, second, or first for a while. I mean, that's just sort of at the moment that's his place in the pecking order.
I was hoping that he was going to hit the ground running. He doesn't seem as comfortable.
They did come out and say that they were lacking a little bit, which I think is a little bit different to McLaren come out and saying that we're lacking a little bit. But they did come out and say we're a little bit behind. We've worked on reliability. We'll continue to work away with the points that we need to work. And I think the changes, though, the Fred Vasseur change, the Binotto out, what's going on, I can give him a little bit of leeway on this weekend because it looks like there's going to be changes coming through. Like, they broke down, it sucks. I still thought Charles drove really, really well. Sainz probably could have got third.
Tell me more about Leclerc driving really, really well.
I just thought across the weekend he was clean. It wasn't spectacular, but Max was just, as we said, Max was untouchable.
Well, Perez.
Sergio was his rear gunner.
Moved in a second pretty comfortably.
And that's sort of, that's, as you said, go back to what you said, the car's also been set up to help Perez a little bit more.
Well, that's
about gapping him from the field.
See, that's what I wonder. I mean, in the past, if Leclerc was on it, Perez wasn't catching him.
No.
And that wasn't the case this one. I mean, unless there was some gremlins creeping into the system
there might have been.
And that we didn't know about earlier, but So, I think they will be a whole lot stronger. I think they will be a whole lot stronger through the race.
Think so too.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a Sainz hit the... I'm not so concerned about Leclerc. I think we know what's there from him.
Yes.
But Sainz, I was hoping he was going to hit the ground running.
Yep.
He had that opportunity in qualifying. Couldn't quite make it happen. It wasn't far off. But he just doesn't seem as happy with the car as what Leclerc does at the moment.
I reckon of the top teams at the moment, you would say the closest for teammates would be George and Lewis. But I think when it comes to Red Bull, when it comes to Aston, when it comes to Ferrari, there's a clear faster man and a slower man.
Yeah. We probably should have discussed Aston Martin. I actually missed it because Aston Martin's the next team we should have been discussing. Oh, right. I don't think I'll let you talk on this one.
No.
So Aston Martin have come out. We were wondering.
Yep.
We were wondering if they were going to be this team.
That was the thing. There was rumours, there was whispers, they're going to be quick, we weren't quite sure.
All the evidence suggested, all the data suggested that they're going to be quick, they're comfortable with where they're at. They were trying to talk it down a little bit.
Yep.
And I could see why in qualifying, because they were a good 0.6 off the pace Q3 qualifying.
Yes.
Not sure that was their best performance, though.
I'm not sure. I thought that was a messy session.
Yeah, well, I think it was just they didn't quite get the lap that they could have. I think they could have been a little closer than that because, it wasn't what they were sort of showing. But Alonso is a huge factor in this World Championship, and I sent you a message as a bit of a tease halfway through the weekend and said, I can't believe Fernando Alonso is going to be a world champion again.
See, I didn't even pick up on it because I thought exactly the same thing. I'm like,
I
agree with you.
Really bite the way I'd hoped, but there's a really good feel-good factor on it.
There is a good, and I think it comes from being that lower team. It's a surprise package that 6 months ago, no one would have thought that they'd be there. No one would have expected a bottom feeder of such or a lower midfield team to suddenly rise through the ranks. And I think it's refreshing. And I think it's more energised people because we've not seen this team as a top team before.
Having a top four, which is what we think we might have.
We're always used to a top 2 or a top 3, but
having
suddenly
a
to have
top
another
4
one in there
means that there could be 8 drivers contending for a race.
And
win.
it's exciting because they've never been there before. And that's the thing. It's because the team, I mean, Fernando has been there for years and years and years, but as a team collective, to have a new team come up into it, that's so exciting. And then who knows, in 12 months' time, imagine if we're sitting here at the start of round 1 next year and suddenly we've got a top 3 that is Ferrari, Aston, Williams, or something like that. I think that's the thing I'm really looking forward to the most. And I think that's what's energised fans alike in the race weekend because no one expected it. Well, like you said, we were questioning it. Is it true or not? We don't know. But we saw it, and yes, it is. And now, we're up and about.
Tell me about your race experience. Were you enjoying it?
It was. So I was more qualifying because I saw you had messaged me Saturday morning for qualifying,
and I did the right thing because you didn't watch live, did you?
No, I didn't watch it live because I thought about it, and then I said, "Hey, let me know when you have." I thought that's it. I'm not opening it,
and I
couldn't be the rest.
I did my absolute best not to give away anything in that sentence.
So I had my phone off for the rest of the next 2 hours. I thought, oh, hang on, someone's going to message me here. And then I didn't watch it till later. I was really disappointed in qualifying because after practice 2, when he topped the timesheet by a 10th, and then practice 3, when he held on to it, it was practice 3 for me that really thought
that he kept on going faster with them.
This is actually on here. Like we could be on for pole. If we had been practice 2, and then Max had to come through and top practice 3, I would have thought, okay, it's not going to happen. But the fact that he held on to it,
for me, it was the fact that the 2 qualifying sessions before the final one,
absolutely,
it showed that they were still in it. So
incredible, especially with his times for practice 1. So Q1. So he was ahead of Max in Q1. He was only a 10th off in Q2, but then in Q3 when it counted, Max turned it on. And you're right, there's so many good signs across the weekend. Driver factor played a huge part there. So that was great. I was flat. I was flat after qualifying because I thought 3rd would be all right. But then 5th, and I was like, all right, maybe it's not as good as what we'd hoped for. And look, a little bit of luck with the Leclerc DNF. But outside of that, it was just so...
Getting it done.
It was so good. Just watching those last few laps as he hunted down Sainz, I thought, yes, no. Because he took a lot out of those tyres to battle with Lewis, which... What a fantastic head-to-head that was too. Just for those handful of laps, going at each other. And I really applaud Lewis as well because he didn't get out of his way and he kept at him. And that was, It
was a great battle between old foes. You got to remember they're old foes.
I know. And that's what makes it so good. And you don't quite see that with some of the younger drivers at the moment. It's just, I'm not racing you. I'm getting out of your way.
Yeah, or it's, I'll push you wide.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I can't stand that I'll push you wide.
Neither can I. But you've got these guys from, the old guard that will not give an inch for whatever position they're fighting on track. And I think that's really great. So it was really, really good to see. He hunted down Sainz. I was as excited when he hunted down Sainz as I was when Max won a couple of years ago. I was generally pumped. I'm surprised I didn't wake up half the neighbourhood.
So tell me then.
Yep.
We've spoken about him. What about the true hero?
The true hero in that team.
Lance Stroll, the true hero.
I'll tell you what, credit where credit's due. He drove beautifully well over the weekend.
Cheesy hit Alonso hard on that first lap,
didn't he?
I
had a heart in the mouth moment, and then when Alonso had gone wide and lost 2.
It took me pretty much the rest of the race to get over that he smashed him on the first lap.
That moment when he got to 3rd was the moment that I forgave him. But I thought, you are kidding me.
Oh yeah, I could not believe it. I love that they weren't telling Alonso
How
who it
was that? And he's going on saying that we need an investigation.
I wanted to spew in my own mouth when Alonso was talking about him after the race.
I thought that was a little
heroic and. Yeah. He's playing the game beautifully, but you do have to give credit to Stroll because
broken hand, broken
none
wrist,
of the
broken
testing.
toe,
He pushed through it, and it was a good result. I mean, it wasn't as strong as Alonso, but to be only a couple of places off and to finish in 6th,
I think it's very good.
It was a great result.
It was very good. You'll think by the end of this episode that I'm on the Stroll bandwagon.
Oh my
and
god!
Suddenly I've got posters hanging in my rooms at home, which is not true. I don't. I'm not going.
Great idea.
I'm not going that far.
I might put it. I'm wanting to place an order with Chris, but I'm possibly moving, so I don't really want to do that.
I might have one more Stroll.
But maybe I'll get a Stroll thing from Chris.
Maybe I might have one more Stroll bit of news before the podcast is out.
Oh, wonderful! Yep. You've ordered his helmet. Excellent. Let's talk Mercedes. They're an interesting case, Mercedes.
They are. I think that the thing that worries me the most about Mercedes is, as we mentioned and touched on last episode, we've seen the rest of the field come out in testing and they've got one of two ways. They've gone the Ferrari direction with the aero package, or they've gone the Red Bull direction with the aero package. And did you see Horner's comments from yesterday or today? Something along the lines of imitation is the highest form of flattery when he was talking about Aston.
Yep.
And his comment after that was, it's really nice to see last year's car doing so well. And Sergio was in the press conference afterwards saying, isn't it great to see 3 Red Bulls up on the podium? So you would get a sense that it's hard to see, from the naked eye with the new livery and all that kind of stuff. But you get a sense that Red Bull have looked down the end of the grid and gone,
oh, it is.
That's the RB18.
Incredibly similar.
Oh, incredible.
We've heard this story with them before.
Yep.
There's big differences though.
There is
push rod, pull rod, all sorts of things going on there. But anyway, we're talking about Mercedes.
Back to my point with Mercedes is that they've come out and they said, okay, this aero package is not quite working. So my big question is that outside of the win in Brazil, are they a little bit...
What was their evidence to suggest that they should have come into this season with it?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Is it maybe that everyone around them was doing better? If you look at what people have done in terms of, the ground effect and how they're using the side pods now, especially with, what's been dubbed the water slides and the channels that you see on everyone, how can they look down the field and just go, we don't have that element on the car, so we're going to get further ahead when it's been proven from the Ferrari and the Red Bull that it works?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
I don't understand.
Toto he's showing signs of big cracks.
Toto's comments were almost as if they were dead last. Honestly, which
worst race weekend of his career.
Worst weekend of career ever. It's like he DNF'd twice in the first opening lap.
Yep. And he was having to defend comments that Lewis had made because it seems like on the radio Lewis is suggesting that this package, the route that we've gone down, isn't going to work for us. And so, they're not a happy team at Mercedes at the moment.
They're not. They're finding losing difficult, aren't they? They really, really are. And I am predicting that the way the new CFD and the new regulations are, that if you are a Mercedes fan, you are in for a couple of years of slide. Because looking, not so much because of the team and what they can and can't do, but because of the way that the regulations are set up and your wind tunnel time and your money allocation, from the position that they're in, you can't go from really what is top of the midfield, you can't go from that position of first.
At testing, there was talk of them having a different concept.
So Baku is allegedly, there's a whole new setup for Baku, so maybe we'll see it around.
Well, yeah,
Baku
but
time,
they're
but I don't
talking
know.
3/10, and Toto over the weekend said 3/10 is not going to get the job.
No, it's not. It's spot on.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but there was talk of a different concept, not necessarily tweaking what they've got, a different concept, and so I don't know. I mean, they discredited that they have side pods ready to put on and all those sorts of things, but there must be something else going on, and so I think there's a few of the things that Toto said. I think he's putting a fair bit of pressure on that team.
I think so.
Overall,
too.
I actually thought Lewis drove quite well.
I thought Lewis drove well, and George in qualifying was electric.
Yep.
He was setting purple sectors as well.
Yep. And once again, he drove quite well in some battles. I mean, they got
really
done,
did.
but it was probably the car more than anything.
They really did. But I mean,
Yeah.
like testing proved that you look at that Mercedes, it's totally different to everything else, and it's just not quite right.
I've got less confidence in them improving throughout the season than what I did coming into the weekend.
I do not expect to see them move beyond where they are now.
Yeah.
And if they want to progress up the grid, they actually have to take 2 steps back before they even start going forward.
I expect they will improve, but I'm not as confident as what I was. I was absolutely certain they're going to be in the hunt by the end of the year.
I don't think they'll be in the hunt.
No,
Alpine,
I'm not as convinced.
Yeah, Alpine won't do enough to catch them, and Mercedes can't do enough to catch Aston.
Yep. Alfa Romeo were next. Bottas came home in 8th position.
Yeah.
Zhou Guanyu, he actually came home in 16th, but it wasn't representative where he was.
I didn't see a really late.
The reason for that was
he pit stop.
Yeah, to take the fastest lap so that Alpine wouldn't get the fastest lap. So he wasn't in contention for points. So he took one for the team and made his result look worse, but they had quite a strong weekend, the two of them, didn't they?
I thought they were quite good. We said they were a little bit of unknown. We thought it was going to go one of two ways, really bad or really good.
Yep.
And I think they sort of held station is probably the best way I can describe.
No, they've improved. You think about where they finished.
Oh, yeah. In terms of just...
From last year,
there's a race weekend package.
They've pushed themselves forward a long way.
Yeah, they've pushed themselves forward, but as a race weekend, they're sort of just... They held station on... where I kind of thought that they were about last year. Valtteri was really good. Zhou was good as well. There was no DNFs. I think reliability is the big thing for them because they had quite an unreliable package throughout last year and were dropping away fast at the end of season. But I think if they can have a nice, steady, reliable season, you'd look at 7th, 8th, 9th. Yep. Maybe a 6th on a day where the cards just fall your way.
Is it too early to go drive a merry-go-round?
Yeah.
Round 1?
Yes.
Ricardo to Alfa Romeo. No. Ricardo to Alfa Romeo. I can see that being an interesting package for him. And I don't know.
It's round 1.
It's round 1.
It's round 1.
But yeah, both drove really well.
I
was really impressed with both. I was expecting an upturn from Zhou. Gasly was next, picked up some points from the back of the grid through to 9th. Ended up back of the grid because he had his lap that wasn't any good anyway.
For
taken off
sure.
him.
And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about that, yes, we know Max dominated the weekend. But if you look mid-race, Gasly is down second last, and you're thinking, what on earth is going on? This man is about to have the worst weekend of his life.
Yep.
Then his teammate decided he'd do that. And then Gasly suddenly ends up in 9th, and he just sort of worked his way through. So, yeah, probably a save. A real good save for the weekend because
he finished where he should be.
Yeah, midpoint it was going pear-shaped in a big way.
Yep. So it was a good first race for Gasly, and that's what they've brought him in for.
Yep,
they brought him in for those solid races.
Yep.
He's you've alluded to it. Ocon managed to park in the wrong spot on the grid.
Oh my god!
And he came out and said, "Oh, that's what I always do." And I'm actually with him. I thought you were within reason. I thought and maybe he was out of that reason, but because he was paused there, he didn't move. I thought he was actually allowed to do that when I saw it, because I swear I've seen someone at the front of the grid do it.
So if you
out of box,
if you had a caught, there was a really great tech analysis on F1 TV where it was actually the white line. So if you're thinking about the front of the box, so it wasn't the front of the white line that he had gone too far over. He had actually gone to, I'm thinking about what direction we're watching on. He had gone to the right and actually crossed
sitting
more
over
into the middle
Yeah.
So, and you can see a really well-defined line where you can see the edge of all the white boxes down the left-hand side of the grid, and then you get to Ocon's and you can't see it. So he had actually wandered to the right into the middle of the track, and that's what had led him down. So it's not, usually it's across the front where you can park on it, but that's the direction he took.
Yeah, okay. So, he had that penalty, and then they had to serve a stop-go, which is fair enough. If you can't get that bit right, stop-go. And old mate on the spanners couldn't help but touch his car.
He was a bit excited, wasn't he? And he jumped in, jumped the gun.
And I wonder, I don't know. I mean, he couldn't do that. Broke the rules, so then he had to come back in for another one and managed to get a speeding fine.
Speeding in pit lane.
Which is bloody impressive.
Absolutely.
I think
just it went from bad to worse to laughable.
Yeah.
Like it really did.
Yeah, it got out of hand real quick.
Absolutely. And I, as a driver who is well experienced like Ocon...
I thought you were going to say like myself.
No, to be well experienced like Ocon, how many times has he lined up in his grid box? Second one, 100% not his fault. But then to come back in and be speeding while you're doing it, there has to be a bit of nous. It's like, okay, we've made two. Let's take a huge collective breath here and let's get it right now. But then to do it again... Which he added nearly 35 seconds or something like that, I think it was at some point. Not
great considering you got a new teammate that you want to go and fight.
Absolutely.
Yep. So it wasn't the greatest for him, but some good signs for Alpine. That's what we expected. We didn't see the data to tell us that this team was going to be in this position.
No.
But I think we expected them to be sort of middle of the midfield.
Yeah.
If there's a top four now, the next best is that position.
Yep.
And they didn't quite nail it because of different reasons, because of Ocon and because of where Gasly started the race. But they sort of recovered it well. Albon, another great story.
Awesome.
More the Williams story.
He is my driver to watch this year.
Yeah, so, I mean, but the Williams story, because, I mean, we had Albon in 10th, but Logan Sargent in 12th.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, what a great start.
What a terrific first race from... the young rookie.
Yep.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Punching well above his weight.
And it's exactly what I was hoping to see from Williams.
Well above his weight. Yep.
And now what I want to tell everyone is, no. Now everyone get over it.
Yep.
And don't ramp that pressure up to keep on
now
seeing.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. We want to see them consistently be able to perform in this way. And sometimes with these teams, they nail it at the start.
Yep.
And then they drop off. I'm really hoping that...
A la Alfa Romeo last year.
Yep. Haas has done it, and we want to just see... We want to see them perform in the midfield. They don't have to be quite as strong, but just perform in the midfield consistently this season. That'd be a great result for them.
Absolutely, I think so.
Yep. Haas also... Pace there. Hulkenberg, unrepresentative of his actual pace. He was travelling a whole lot better, and then... needed to replace a wing, a front nose, and that pretty much did his racing. It was a long stop, and it wasn't quite the result, but there was a whole lot more positivity there. The pace in the car wasn't too bad. They're not backmarkers, put it that way.
They're not backmarkers, but I don't know. For me, best way to describe it was just a meh weekend. It really was.
I think that's pretty much where they're at. It really was.
You can say that for K-Mag. Meh. Hulk's qualifying was fabulous. Incredibly good.
Yep.
Outside of that, there really wasn't a lot to cheer about, perhaps.
Well, I think you're being a bit harsh on them.
Really?
Well, if you got 4 top teams, that's 8 positions in points.
It's 8 position in points.
So there's not a lot up for grabs.
I worry about Gunter and some of the comments that he made around the new teams coming into F1 and some of the comments that he made around Andretti coming in and one of them saying, what does he offer or what are they going to offer to the sport? I'd be very careful about saying things like that when you've got the Haas team who are running around in 13th or 15th. Not 13th yet. 13th.
It's not too bad.
15th.
I think you've been a bit harsh on them.
I think for a team that started so well last year and they have a ridiculous amount of wind tunnel time and Aston showing what you can do with a lot of wind tunnel time, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you're writing them off too quick. I think they may be a case of everyone... or too many teams improving around them as well. I think they've made some good steps. I think they've made some really good steps. It's just that everyone else has. I mean, you got to remember they were a back of the grid team last season as well.
So were Williams, and look how well Williams have done too.
Yeah, well, they're up with them. They were up with them.
All right, to be seen. I'm a little bit more downbound.
We miss Tsunoda. Actually, he was in 11th. Yuki had a bit of a
it was an 11th weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, and probably. I mean, I was watching him, and he was. I had hope that Piastri, when Piastri was running, would catch Tsunoda.
Piastri was running beautifully,
and it was looking all right, like that was going to be his battle.
Yes,
and Tsunoda pushed on from there quite well. There were some drivers that dropped away, which helped with his position, but for a non-issue driver, he finished quite well.
Yeah.
It was an interesting one. I'm not convinced that AlphaTauri is actually an 11th place car, though. I think he's probably made it look better than what it would be, which is exactly what we need from Tsunoda.
Yeah, we said that he is one of the drivers under the pump for the season, needs a good season. We also said, I thought Hulk was too, but he started well.
Yep. So I think actually I'll give him credit for that, because I don't think that car's really in 11th place, but I think he's made a bit of a difference there.
There.
And Nick de Vries, it's a fairly solid for a first weekend. You're finding your feet. He didn't impress, but
he got through the weekend, and maybe
honestly, I think that's actually pretty good for this car. I think it's pretty good.
I had high hopes for Nick.
Yeah,
it's probably why I'm a little bit down, because I thought, your experience, you're
I'd give him a chance.
Junior champion, you're a Formula E champion. You come and did great things last year. Maybe. I think
give him a chance.
Give it a few more weeks
to make it happen.
Okay. Yep.
And then there's a team we haven't discussed.
Oh dear.
Whoa, McLaren.
Now, I put them last week in my Constructor Champion.
Well, it's only round one.
I know, but I'm correct at that.
They had better pace than last, but my goodness, what a schmozzle.
What a shocker.
One driver breaks down completely. Well, they let him break down, and then they couldn't get it started again.
Couldn't get the steering wheel on and hooked up and ready to go. Sat there for an eternity.
Well, it wasn't. They got it on. They just couldn't get it started.
Get it started.
Electrical gremlins.
Yep.
And then Norris had some sort of
hydraulic gas leak, which for anyone who knows anything about that actual malfunction on a car, you know that you are coming in really what is traditionally is about every 3 or 4 laps. So the fact that he got, I think it was 7 or 17, I can't remember the exact number. The fact that he was coming in to regas, as soon as you have that gremlin in your car, that's what you're doing for the entire time you're running. You're in, you're regassing, you're back out.
It was a test.
I'm shocked that they kept going.
Well, it was a test session in the end.
I wouldn't have even put a test session on it. They were, if you look at Q1, which he was so lucky to get out of, because Sargent did the actual 1,000th,
the exact
same time. Yep. If Sargent does that first and Lando's out of Q1, he did really, really well in Q2 to make it that far, but still was not setting the world on fire in Q2 either. For things like engine allocations and gearboxes stuff, me personally, I would have parked it.
Think about where they are. They're just looking for extra testing.
Think about what I said last week, that they're a mile off because they haven't even met their allocation and their build time.
But that's what I'm saying.
Aeros.
So it's time they were just out there doing extra testing.
But
there was actually some. I mean, I know they had the opportunity to change tyres more regularly than everyone else, but there was actually some okay speed in that McLaren in race pace, which is not exactly what we're expecting. And so I think they were just enjoying finding out a little bit more about that car in a race condition, and
maybe
they've got some work to do.
I don't know they would have got too much out of it, especially when you're regassing your hydraulics as frequently as they are.
That's why
mini runs.
That's why they said that they kept on running, is to get all the extra information. Which is I was with you. I was like, do you put the engine under that risk? But I think they're probably also going to be okay with swapping engines over at some stage, because they're not going to necessarily be in the hunt.
Well, they're probably, that's exactly right. They can probably do a fresh engine every week, can't they? Things I don't like about McLaren as well, that when they are being innovative with their advertisements and their digital paneling and their digital signing and all that kind of stuff, takes time and money to develop, and you need people on that, and then to come out and say that you're missing your targets for your aero, and you can still put your digital ads on your car. My question, I'm going to be really harsh on McLaren this year, I really, really am. My question would be, why are you spending time on digital advertising when you are missing your key components to build your race car?
Different department.
Well, still.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be bringing anything flash. It flies in the face of the fans.
It's like saying, like, we work at schools. It's like saying, well, your grade 3s are misbehaving. Why are you bothering working on your grade 4s? They're just different departments. It's not like you can just say, right, all you boys start working on fixing this, because it's not what they've been working on.
They got to win their fans back at the moment, because if you've had a look on social media, their fans are fuming.
100%, but that doesn't mean you just stop.
No, but you don't bring out things like that, because right now what fans don't want to see is flashy gizmos. I'd love to hear from McLaren fans if you're listening. Like, if you're seeing flashy gizmos on your car, but your car's breaking down and you're having hydraulic issues, and you've had possibly one of the worst weekends, and 2 weeks ago your CEO comes out and says, I'm just letting you know right now that we have stuffed up before the season's even started. You don't bring flash gizmos, you don't advertise all these awesome cool things that you got, because you can't do the basics well.
You're being a bit harsh.
I want to hear from McLaren people on this one.
We are moving into race rankings. All signs has taken over the race rankings department here.
Good.
So all signs, that's awesome. They're taking it over. The 3, 2, and 1. What's your 3, 2, and 1?
Let
me have a guess.
Very, very straightforward. You could have written it Sunday night. The great man for 3. I don't even need to continue.
I'll take him as well.
All right, good.
3 points.
3 points.
I'll give him that.
I'm going to give 2 to George.
Really?
Because I really thought his qualifying was phenomenally good, and I thought he raced well in a reasonably uncompetitive Mercedes.
What about Lewis, who raced better than him in an uncompetitive Mercedes?
I thought George was better across the race weekend whole.
Okay.
And I'm going to give 1 to Lance, because I can't not.
Yeah.
I can't not.
Yeah.
As I said, credit where credit's due.
Okay.
Really, really well done.
Good job.
That's not my Lance surprise before the podcast.
I'll go 3 for Alonso.
Yep.
My 2 to Gasly. I thought Gasly had a great race, first time with the team, and it was good. And I'm also going to give 1 to Stroll, because I thought he actually powered through really well. So
outstanding.
Yeah, thanks to All Signs, AUE Signs. That's awesome. That's our 3, 2, and 1. But this is the part that we also really enjoy. Dud of the day.
Oh, dud of the day.
I've got a couple. We've got the 2 obvious.
Okay.
There's Ocon.
Yes.
Has to be Ocon.
Has to be Ocon.
And there's McLaren, and it has to be McLaren. So how about we don't give it to everyone?
Really? All right.
Do you have any others?
Well, no, because
I've got one more.
You've got one more. All right, give me yours, because
Nico Rosberg was back on the coverage.
Oh, I thought he was all right.
And I've got that in my notes. I can actually take him if he's on track.
Not in his dungeon.
If he's in his lair,
via
camera, I'm not interested in a word he's got to say. We may as well be joining him. I know he's won a world championship more than both of us.
That's very
true.
But
yeah, I'm actually with you. But the first thing he did that I saw went straight to discrediting a story that Sky Sports had done on Gasly and Ocon.
Yeah, right.
So they did this whole story about Gasly and Ocon and their history in terms of growing up together,
karting and smiles and hugging,
and then we're all good. And then coming through, we're all good. We're going to work on the team together. It's going to be the Team France, all that sorts of things. They did this story on him, and that's fine. We cannot believe it. That's how we're allowed to be.
We're allowed, which I don't. I look at that and I think, that's just a PR overload.
The first thing that's said afterwards is Nico Rosberg is talking about, well, I don't believe that. And I was like, man, you are paid to be on Sky Sports.
I don't mind that.
And I didn't mind the honesty.
That's refreshing.
I didn't mind the honesty. And I didn't mind him in other aspects. But I was like, what did I just waste my time looking at then? You can't tell the viewer that you've just wasted their time watching something.
Maybe he hadn't seen it. No, that's good. Good on him.
So, so anyway, I'm going to give it... I'm going to go an early one. It definitely should be McLaren. It definitely should be Ocon, but I'm going to give it to Nico Rosberg.
The only thing I didn't like about Rosberg across the weekend was his shoe choice, which looked like, the best way I can describe, is a sparkly pair of Converse.
I'm with you.
The other... And I love Converse.
And the other issue with Nico Rosberg is that he's not Jenson Button.
No, he's not, JP.
And that's the problem.
Oh, dear. I can't have anyone other than Ocon. It's not physically possible, even as bad as what McLaren is. We'll have multiple opportunities to give McLaren dud of the day.
Yep.
It has to be Ocon.
Yep.
It can't not be anyone else.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
I'm going to give you a hero of the hour.
Yes.
I'm going to give you one.
One of my favourites.
I'm going to give you one that I actually really liked across the race weekend, which was the updated graphics package.
Ooh.
I really liked it. And the one updated graphics package that really caught my eye was the lap comparison across the top 3 that were fighting for pole and the mini sectors.
Yep.
So what you saw was the straight line speed. You saw all in red where Leclerc was fastest, and all the straight lines were Ferrari.
Yep.
So if you're a betting man, you'd put money on maybe Leclerc to be on pole in Jeddah.
Yep.
So Ferrari in the straight line. Then you had all the sort of blue sectors, which was Max, and it looks like the Red Bull is coming out of a corner at high speed.
Yep.
And then you had Fernando on the Aston with his entry and mid-corner speed, and it was so... I just thought that was insightful. We had the mini sectors a couple of years ago, and you could watch that sort of side-by-side
And
column
they were
graph.
ripped away from us.
Yes, and they were taken away. But I really liked that. I thought that updated graphics package was informative. It was insightful. I really liked it.
Great call.
Didn't dominate the screen, so I'm very happy with that.
Great call. I'm going
Thank
to
you.
go for a hero of the hour. Wheelbrows.
Unscripted.
Wheelbrows.
Wheelbrows.
Now, not wheelbrows themselves.
Right.
Someone has come up with the idea of painting the wheelbrows for, I don't know if it's all teams, but definitely for Mercedes, definitely for Ferrari,
Pretty confident in all teams. This is a little...
different colours. Now, there's just a little stripe,
Okay.
similar to what they do have above their head on
Yep.
what's the camera pod
Yes.
above their heads.
T-bar.
The T-bar, that's the one I'm looking for.
Yep.
So they've put a stripe on the cars that are slightly different, which helps us identify. Now, the problem is it's not really thick enough. It needs to be a little thicker.
It's
But
not
I
too
like that they're starting to think about
Yes.
these things.
Not
They've
every
been-
team has it. I know Ferrari had it last year because Sainz...
Well,
had-
Ferrari has it this year.
Yes, they had it last year too. Sainz was yellow, so we knew that. And then...
But that not on the wheelbrows though.
On the wheelbarrows, they were there last year on the Ferrari.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
they were
I
there.
missed
You
it.
might not have noticed it, but it is a little
But
bit
yeah,
more prominent.
so on the Mercedes being in black,
Yes.
you could see it.
And
Now-
the colour across the front of the halo too, which
Yep.
they did do in the latter years of Valtteri's
Yeah, but that's
stint
not
with them. But
that's
that's
not for all teams
Certainly,
either.
yeah.
Then a little dig after Hero of the Hour.
Oh, okay.
Aston Martin and Mercedes look very similar in nighttime running, don't they?
Oh, thank you. I could not
That's hard
differentiate
work. Yeah.
between either of them. You're spot on. I thought about that before we were talking about them.
Yeah, we
I
need
found that really
we
difficult.
need something in there.
I found that... Look, it might just be night races. We know that they changed the tone of the green.
I
to be
honestly,
more TV friendly.
I think that even if it's just colour the front and back wings, put some sponsors on there for us. And I don't know that they really. I mean, do they really need to be that much carbon? The carbon looks crap too, by the way.
Yeah.
The Mercedes looks crap. Should we skip over fantasy? I'm not sure that I did as well as you did, so we might move on.
Absolutely not whatsoever. I'm so excited by fantasy. Our league has hit up 55 teams
Yep.
across the race weekend, which is great. I actually think we had a couple of cheeky teams come in
tell me,
midweek, so I think people can still jump on board.
we left it open.
We left it
I
open.
don't think we leave it. I think we leave it open.
I think we leave it
until
open.
the next race.
All right, up until the next race, and then we're
Yep.
going to close it because I found myself slipping back 2 spots, and I thought, what's going on there? Anyway, fantasy this year, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I actually spent some time across the race weekend looking at the chips because one of the new features that we talked about the other week was the chips. So I'm going to get those up shortly as well, and I'm going to talk you through the chips. Do you know much about the chips and how they're working?
Well, there's the chips. Was that the triple points?
No, there's a series of chips
Oh, okay.
that I've come across. So, yes, I'm looking forward to... I'm going to find them here, and I'm going to share them with you very shortly. Now, fantasy, thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art for all of his fantastic artworks, prizes, all that kind of stuff that are on offer again this year.
Go and check him out.
Go and check him out. Facebook, Redbubble, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Some of his artwork looks good. He put some pretty good artworks up on his page. So, yeah. Anyway, top 3 this year. If you are first, second, or third in our fantasy league, you will take home one of Chris's amazing pieces of artwork and driver of your choice too, which is great. I'll definitely be getting Alonso if I win. Who will you be getting? If you finish top 3, who are you getting?
You told me I wasn't allowed to claim the prizes.
But we might be able to. Chris might give us one.
I've got to Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well, it's got to be a Dan one.
Okay, all right.
I need a Dan one or an Oscar one.
Sure.
Maybe.
All right, so 55 teams, that's great. If you haven't got on yet, jump onto our Facebook. You'll see the league ID code. We're going to leave it open for another week or so, but get on it. All right. How are we going to start? Do we want to go through ours?
No, let's go. Yep.
Let's go through our teams first. All right, we'll go bottom to top to build some suspense. Mm-hmm. So Jay is sitting currently in 22nd position.
Well, that's not bottom of the top.
Well, it's not. Well, yeah. Well,
I'm in 30th.
Are you in 30th?
Yes. Charles Leclerc has cost me big time.
So your team after a net. Did you make any changes after last week?
Yeah, heaps.
Me too.
Yep.
So
promised all sorts of things and then made all sorts of changes.
So you went Max double points for 70. You went Leclerc minus 11.
Yep.
You went the Great Man 39. Zhou 15. How Zhou got 15? I'm still trying to get my head around how he got 15 points because very different from last year.
Yep.
And he went Hulk as well for minus 1.
Yeah, Hulk and his front wing cost me big time.
Does not put you in good stead.
I can tell you exactly how Zhou got his points.
Yep.
Because there's a nice breakdown of points here.
Oh, go for it. Walk us through it.
Race position, 16th, no points. Qualifying position, 13th, no points.
Yep.
Race positions lost, -3.
Yep.
Oh, great. Fastest lap, mind you, 10 points.
Oh, handy, right. Well, that's where that's coming.
And then race overtake bonus. So there's 8 overtake bonuses. And so 8 points. So you got 15. Probably quite lucky you got 15 because he's not going to get the fastest lap every time.
Yep.
Show's out.
Yep, cool.
Where's Zhou? He gone.
Oh, really?
Well, I think so.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. And then you had the Aston for 52 and the Red Bull for 78.
Yeah, happy with my teams.
Very happy with your team.
Leclerc let me down.
You would be surprised if you look about sort of towards the top. I had a little bit of a cheeky spy on some teams.
Did you?
There is a lot of the exact same team in our league, which I think you're going to find across the entire competition.
It makes sense.
All right, Jay in 22nd, which really isn't 22nd because we've got tied positions, obviously 3 19th, 3 16th.
Yep.
So 22nd for Jay, he had 280 points. We don't know his team because he wasn't on to announce it last week. So Max, double points 70. I don't know anyone who might not have put double on Max. That can pretty much permanently live there all year, can't it? K-Mag 8, Alonso 39, Bottas 13, Gasly with 20, which is impressive. 78 for the Red Bulls and 52 for Aston. So 280 in total, which is really, really good.
Jeez,
all right.
40 above me already.
40 above. And we're going to fly all the way to the top. And when I say all the way to the top, we're going to keep going all the way out. And we're going to go fourth, which is me.
Equal fourth,
but top of the list of fourth. Thank you very much. 299. Thank God I'm keeping this fantasy thing alive. And I've made some changes. Would you like me to go through my team?
Go on.
So Max 70.
Yep.
Perez 28. Alonso 39. Zhou 15.
Stroll.
So
you've got Stroll
and I
over
put
now.
Lance in.
You're looking at me like
I know. I put him in. I ummed and ahed about it for hours.
So you've got 3 teams represented in your team.
That's all I've got. Yep, I've got both Red Bulls. I've got
very
both
hit
Aston.
and miss strategy, this, isn't it?
It is. It's either gonna
if Aston has
kill it
some
every
breakdowns
week,
or a bad weekend or
if the
Red Bull.
If the Astons take out the Red Bulls, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, but you have no idea.
There is no spread.
You have no idea how long I thought about Wood Stroll.
Wow.
I thought about it for, I reckon, the entirety of practice too.
I'm not even sure you can come on this program anymore with all the stick you've given.
And I had Piastri, and I was juggling. I'm like, do I go Piastri or do I go Stroll? And I'm thinking about the points breakdown, and I thought, you know what? My gut is just telling me Stroll, and my heart is telling me Oscar. And thank God I made the call I did. So 299 for me.
Yep.
17 for Stroll, 15 for Zhou, 78 for the Bulls, and 52 for Aston Martin. So there you go. And our top, we'll just go through our top 3. No, we'll go through our top 5. So top 5 look like this. So Roaring Roosters, 367 points.
Used a triple.
Yes, used an extra
Round
DRS. Not a bad way to start the
season.
I'm actually not quite sure. I'm going to have a look at it. You don't get a lot, I don't
think. But they're a chip, yeah?
Yes, sorry, it is a chip. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think you just get one in that case. Yes, you do. So you get one of those. I'm pretty confident.
I think it's on each half of the season again. I think I've seen somewhere that it's like you've got 2 to use?
Well, there's 6 chips in total. I'll go through those in a second.
Okay.
So it looks like a DRS has been used
Yep.
for that one there, so that's not too bad. Then you've got David Fantasy Virgin.
Ooh,
Oh, welcome,
first
David.
time.
First timer for 322 points. And then in third place is Chris at Dr. Auto Art, who is our incredible sponsor and prize giver, sitting pretty in third. So, can Chris give himself a prize?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? All right. Very good. And then I'm sitting in fourth, and then after me, you've got 1, 2, 3. You've got 3 more teams. Ricky Bobby Racing School, Speedy Team 1, and Jolien PD all tied on 299. And we've actually got the entire same team, all of us, on 299.
Oh, really?
Yep. All have the exact same team. So anyway, makes a bit of sense there. So that's what that looks like. All right, I want to quickly go through the chips really, really quickly. So I've got the only one I don't understand is chip number 6. So I'm not going to go through that one for you. Alrighty.
Right.
All right. So chip 1 that you can use. These are your boosters. You get 6 in total. First chip is autopilot. Mm-hmm. So what that means is if you choose your double points driver, and at the end of the race weekend, that driver that you have chosen isn't your highest scorer, your 2 times bonus will automatically go to whoever is the highest scorer in your team.
Okay.
So you don't have to do anything about that. So if you're thinking about it across the race weekend, I don't know whether I'm going to go Charles or I'm going to go Max, just put autopilot on and it will choose your highest scorers for you. So that's how autopilot works.
I don't mind that one.
Cool. Limitless is...
That one allows you to have a crack at something different.
It does. Limitless is the big one that I'm really, really liking. So Limitless is where you have a limitless budget for one race weekend. You can get the best of every driver, the best 2 teams, and you can put them in and you can rehash your team for the absolute maximum possible scores. So that's a limitless chip.
And then
you revert back to your original team the following week. So it is a free kick to have the bulk score that you can score for a race weekend, which is incredible. I love that. You still got to make your decisions on who you want, but if you want the 6 most expensive and the 2 most expensive driver teams, you can have that for that race weekend.
Don't know how I feel about that one.
That is a good one. I like that because you would throw that in for a sprint weekend.
Okay.
And that would be huge points.
Yeah.
Chip number 3 is no negatives. So you can actually choose a driver across a race weekend that you believe is probably going to go backwards, that might have out-qualified or is looking like qualifying in a position but are going to drop away from a race. And if you put no negatives, it will make sure that your driver does not drop into the negative points. So I'm pretty sure at the absolute minimum they'll be locked on 0.
Why would you choose a driver you thought might go negative?
Because it might be a race weekend where it's wet, like Spa, for example, and you might get an unusual qualifier who is, if it dries out on Sunday, is going to go backwards.
Okay.
Which equals less points.
All right. Don't mind it.
4 is your extra DRS boost, which is your 3 times, and 5 is your wild card, which is your full redo of your team. Final fix is your 6th one, but I actually don't know what that one's all about yet. So I'll have to have a look at that one. Anyway, that's how the chips and boosters look for fantasy.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to this season.
Yeah. There's all sorts of different things to keep an eye on. And once again, thanks to
Chris.
Chris from Dr. Auto Art. Look forward to talking to him again very soon. News, mate? Any major news breaking at the moment?
Major news?
There's a few things to keep an eye on.
Well, we talked about the qualifying format that's going to be trialled in Imola.
With forced tyres at different sessions.
So that looks not too bad from there.
Like the idea of it.
Yes.
It's not making major changes.
No.
I like the idea of it.
No, I don't think it's making major changes.
Yep.
We know a little bit of news out of Mercedes is that they're going to have that upgraded package, which is going to come in Baku.
Well, yeah, originally it was definitely going to be Baku.
Yes.
And there wasn't as much confidence there.
No, I don't think so either. But outside of that, it sort of looks to be all there is in terms of news after a round 1. I can't think of too much more or know of too much more that's happening in the news world either.
I mean, there's also the whole Hamilton needing to re-sign business, and it's not really news. It's just something that's
just a bit of gossip.
It's just happening in the background. Didn't hear a happy team on the weekend, so I think I'm not trying to get into driver market stuff too much more. I've already done it once tonight.
You've already read it.
But yeah, I think it'll be just one to watch. Do you sign up again for an unhappy team if he's not happy there? So I think it's just one to watch more than anything. I can't imagine we'll see something being signed anytime too soon. Or if we do, I think there'll be some release clauses in it.
Yep.
So, yeah. Next race is going to Jeddah. And I was absolutely certain it was this weekend.
So was I.
It isn't.
It's not. It's next.
We've got a week to wait. I know.
You'll be able to finish Drive to Survive now.
The correct way of doing the opening start of this season, and I know they were just at testing, would have been to do the two. They're 500 miles apart, for goodness sakes.
Yes, absolutely.
So you would have been to do the two, close together, give yourself a week off, fly to Australia, because they were going to try and squeeze China in there as well. They were going to do China after Australia.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that would have been the way to do it. But anyway, it hasn't quite worked out. So yeah, we've got a week off before Jeddah. But what are you expecting? What are you expecting to see from the faster race circuit? I mean, it's not like it's an overly twisty circuit, Bahrain. I don't think we're going to see huge differences. But tyre wear will be one.
I think tyre wear will be one. I do expect to see a little bit of a shuffle. Lewis was fastest in the speed trap.
Yep.
Around Bahrain, so I do expect to see a little bit of improvement. We might see a little bit of a reshuffle of the order. You never know. We could have an Aston on pole. We could have an Aston in 7th. We could have a Ferrari on pole, and we could have a Red Bull 2 and 3. So you're not quite sure. I think we'll have a little bit of a shuffle. I don't expect things to stay as it is. I kind of expected Williams to do really, really well. I'm really bullish on Williams this year. I know in years gone past I've said no.
Yep.
But this year is their year. I really believe to make huge gains up and down the field. So, yeah, I think we'll just see a minor shuffle and tweak, and we'll get a little bit of an insight into what the field's going to look like on high-speed tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I don't expect too much, but it'll be closer.
Yep.
It'll be closer.
Yep. Really looking forward to getting another race in because, yeah, we saw so much to enjoy. And if you are feeling down in the dumps about the fact that our Red Bull's looking so strong, just hold off. Just hold off and give the season a chance and enjoy it for everything it's worth. But yeah, we don't expect it's going to be all plain sailing. Our race times, but it's a 4 a.m. race. Ugh. Well, that's getting into territory of waking up for
it is.
4
It's not
a.m.
too bad. I can get up for 4.
You finish by 6.
That's not too bad.
You take in all the post-race stuff.
And then you wander off to work.
Yeah. So you're going to be in similar territory to me, so I might actually be watching a race live here.
Oh, fabulous. Fabulous.
But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that part. Stay tuned for Fan Frenzy. We'll be bringing out Fan Frenzy slightly later in the week. And make sure you get involved on the socials. Don't forget we are available now on YouTube. And do us a huge favour. Share us around. Let some people who love a bit of Formula One know. Give us a bit of feedback. What do you want to hear more of?
Yeah.
What do you want to hear less of? Do you want to join us? All those sorts of bits and pieces. We love a bit of feedback. So, so certainly get in contact. You can contact us on the socials. We're on Instagram. We are on the book, the Facebook. We're on the tube, as I said before. But you can also get in contact with us at Roger at beyondtheracingline.com or Tristan at beyondtheracingline.com because lots of people do actually like to send the personal emails.
Good.
And so, yeah, you can get in contact with us that way. But until then, enjoy your racing, read up, and we'll be talking to you again soon. Goodbye now.